remember he said, singing Mozart on a Friday is just so good for the soul. And I was like, I remember as a student, I was like, oh, that's good for the soul. So thank you. So what I'd like you to do, as students here, we're going to flip back. I have just like a little baby example rubric here. So let's imagine we're just sight reading this, okay? And so the rubric is, just kind of a real basic rubric. So go to the sight reading section. Imagine you've never sang this before, even though you're a choir director, sang it from director. Sight reading. So where were you on this one? I didn't really know how to begin this activity, but I tried. All the way to 5 was able to identify the key, starting pitch, sang with only very minor errors. I observed articulation, dynamic markings, sang with my best tone and phrasing. I was at the far end of this. Would you just show me real quick with your hands, 1 to 5, where were you on this activity? Here we go, just a little quick. All right. Okay, would you just talk with your closest neighbor? If you were not a 5, where would be the place that you would be a 5? If you were a 5, would you say, that's a director this many times, this is where it should have been. But, maybe kind of just have a little discussion of where we can move from here. For you personally, individually, not as a choir. Ready, go. 20 seconds, go. All right, I'll come back here. Thank you. So with sight reading, just to be clear, as you remember, we're not always supposed to be at 5 for this. We're going to be sight reading some things. And what I say is, here's another metric for you. This is 5 with me. Thumbs up all the way. That was easy for me. That did not challenge me terribly, right? I was learning and growing, right? Like this, I made some mistakes, but that is the money zone for me. And that was way too far. I had it upside down, and I don't know. Ready? Show me that. Ready? Boom. Quick check. Great. Most of us were right there. So that tells me that this is probably too easy of a sight reading example for this group. So we're going to go on to something more difficult this time. Well done, folks. That is a quick formative assessment that I can get some just general information. I'm not going to put any of that in the grade book, okay? I'm going to just kind of get a gathering of my students and kind of see where are we? Where are we today? Now, further along the line, maybe 3 weeks later, we've been working on the book side. And I'm going to say, okay, this is the assessment. This is the assessment. This is going to be in the book. But you are going to grade yourself on this rubric. Okay? And now we're going to be on the part knowledge category. So look at the rubric there, part knowledge. Okay? I'm going to put this on the grade book. And so we're going to do it again. Let's just sing the beginning of it. And can we remember to have voice consonants? Can we remember to grow on the long notes if you're at a 5 already? What are those extra areas that you could? Were you sing with your very best tone? Were you sing with expression even through the mask? So let's just sing, you can just sit, let's just imagine that we're 3 weeks down the line. Okay, so here it is. You remember the pitch from the beginning? And this is your part knowledge, this is still your self-assessment, right? And try. Talked about it in class, right? And we knew on Friday Mr. Kane was going to give us a little assessment, and I'm going to give myself a grade. And so you're going to kind of think, okay, 1 through 5, and if you, was absent a couple days, or maybe everyone paying attention. Okay, so where are you on that one? Show me with your fingers real quick here. Okay, great. So for this one, I'm going to have you actually go to this little worksheet that you have in your binders, right? And you're just going to, for this week, on part knowledge, would usually have to kind of do stuff required, right? Yeah, I can't just kind of show up and float, right? I'm going to have something here. And then also when my administrator comes down and says, hey, for your performance review this year, you show us your pre-test and your post-test data, make sure that 83% of them have converted so that we can get the actual money that we're supposed to pay you anyway, but we're going to pay you that only if you give us that. Yeah. Okay, so I give them something like this, right? Quick thing, all of my classes, yep, they all got 4 this week, and then next week they all got a 5. Boom. You know what I mean? And it's here, it's clean, it's easy. At the bottom of this, try this. So I put a little QR code, so get your phone out, take your camera out. I won't do too much tech, I'm sorry, but I'll do a few tech things. This is a QR code. This links to a Google form right there, so it'll link you to a Google form, and I can get my kiddos to just do that real quick with their phones. If you don't have phones, I would say at the beginning of class, hey, this is a phone day, okay, so you can have your phones on you because we're going to need those, so go ahead and try it, see if it works, see if my QR works. Did it go to your form? Yeah, you can take your form and you can design that form however you want, and then you can enter it there, then you're not passing paper out, and then you get paper back, and then it's the whole thing, and then that paper gets lost. It's a quick thing right there, I've got it, it's tabulated, Google puts it in a spreadsheet for you, it's amazing, okay? And so you could get that data right there for how they did that week, okay? So that's a quick and easy assessment for it could be on a part, on a song you're working on, it could be on sight reading, okay? And we'll talk about some other things with sight reading as well. It could be, that Google form could be a link to a concert review that you did. Oh, how did you feel about your concert performance this week? You could put a little link there. Quick, easy, it gives you numbers, and it's lovely, okay? So those are some quick kind of thoughts on basic assessments. Question, sir?
So on self-assessment, you putting it in a grade book?
No. So yeah. So for self-assessment, it's like you got it. Okay. So I'm going to kind of my end of the assessment. So what I would do if I wanted to, and I occasionally do this, if I want to have a teacher-led assessment, which is also very important, right? I'm going to have you all try this. So get your phone out. Okay. Get your phone out. Open up voice memos. Yes, ma'am.
Sorry to interrupt, Sean. We're having people request through a virtual that we'll use the microphone. Thank you so much.
So, open up voice memos. We're going to do a teacher-led assessment now on the same activity. So we're going to sing Ave Verum, but this time I'm going to be listening to it. Okay, folks, so I'm going to be listening to your part. I'm just going to quick check on it. So open up voice memos or a video recording or something like that. If you don't have it, what I will do in my class, if someone doesn't have a phone, I'll just do it twice. Okay, we're just going to run through it twice. You're going to share your phone with a neighbor, or I have a couple of classroom iPads that people can use. We'll go through it twice, and then that second time, hey, I'll use your phone, okay? So you're going to wait for just a second, and then you're going to press record. You're going to hold your phone about this far away from your face, okay? You're going to sing with confidence right through it, okay? Ready, press record. All right, this is Ave Verum. All right, this is our formative assessment. Here we go. And a 1, 2, you're recording, and Grow, 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 grow. Put the V before the beat. Awesome. Thank you. Go ahead and stop your recording. What you're going to do is you're going to title that with your name. You guys are smart with how to use your phones. You're going to put your name in that. You're going to put Ave Verum and the date. And then would you just quickly, kind of in your own mind, I'm going to give you an assessment. Would you give me a heads up, though, of where you think you are also on this? Out of 5. Okay? And that's all going to be in what you're going to title this. Okay? Then would you email that to me? Or if you have a Google Classroom, how many Google Classroom people out there? I have a little assignment in there. Would you upload it into the Google Classroom assignment titled Assessment on Ave Verum? Okay? And that little voice recording. So you're going to hit the little share O button, and I'm going to explain that in this little, I've gone over that in class a whole bunch. You're going to share that to me. If you want to email it to me, I'd love to hear your voice on that. You can email it to my email, and I would get that. And what I'll hear is 80 or 90% you, but you didn't feel
like that exposed, did you? But I'll be able to hear your part and kind of go, yeah, okay, yeah, I think that was a 4 out of 5. Or if I'm like, oh, it's a 5, well, maybe it's a 4. And I'd be pretty generous, and that would be something that I would put in the grade book, okay, on measures, whatever that I was working on, really quick, okay. I don't do that a lot. I might do that once per concert season, maybe twice per concert season, just so I have a couple things in there. Hey, we have a part test on this day, and we have another part test, on this day. It's a quick exercise. We put it in there. And I'm really generous with the tech stuff. If anybody's struggling with it, we'll do it again. We'll share, and we'll put that in there. So that's another way that I'll do that assessment. Let's kind of move on into this next thing. Assessments. I was going to title this, and I ran it by Sid, and she said, well, maybe, but I said, what if we call this, take the ass out of assessment? Right? And she's like, I like it. And we almost went with it, and they were like, yeah, we probably should call it like meaningful assessment in the choir. Because I found in my whole career, this has been something that has been challenging for me, that we're leading a group activity, essentially, and yet we're also meant to be teaching students, humans, right? As Dr. Ely put out, we're teaching people, right? We're not teaching music. So really, that's a mind shift, and I loved hearing that because that helps me, right? So much of our focus is on the concert, and that's great, and that's honestly what we're doing. We're teaching them how to sing in a group. But how can we kind of just sneak in a few assessments and individual things that'll keep our individual students motivated? Because ultimately, at the end of the day, that's what I want. I want them to be literate musicians. I want them individually to be comfortable picking up a piece of music and performing it by themselves without Mr. Kane telling them how it goes. Okay? That's my goal. I think, was it Jim, he said, he told a little story about Frank DeMero last night about his first semester in college and what did he get out of it? The tenor part, from Handel's Messiah or something like that. Is that what they're going to walk away from our class with? Knowing the tenor part from 5 songs. We want them to know more than that, right? And so I think that's where I'm going with this. I've had a struggled relationship with assessment my whole career. I'm a big picture person. I want the concert to be great. I want the song to be perfect. I want it to just be lovely. I'm thinking about how we're going to enter and all those things. And so this kind of gets pushed off to the side. So I've had to find ways to work it into my daily routine. So it's just going on in the background. It's not taking a ton of time. But it's important. So that's my thought. So how many of you guys have gotten near the end of the semester and your grade book has like 2 grades in it, participation and concert? Yeah. And I've been there before, and your administrator comes down and it's like, really? They all have an A, and it's just participation and 1 participation grade and 1 concert grade. And so I think we owe more to our students, and they're capable of more in there. And so I am struggled through this as well. I'm not, this has been really frightening to sit there and try to follow E. Feely with all of his amazingness and be like, okay, wait, I'm next. But this is something that, from an education book for teachers, as students, the most effective evaluation comes from someone who sits beside us and helps us grow. Not me going, you didn't know that part. But I'm just right here next to you going, hey, let's figure this out together. And they really respond to that kind of approach. So with the Timberline Choir program, I try to have our assessments or our areas of growth be in 3 categories. Our heart, right? That's the most important thing, right? Passion and love for making music, right? Starting with music, starting with Mozart. God, isn't that beautiful, right? If you start with sight reading, it doesn't engage that heart piece as much. Okay, so we're looking at how we can grow for that. A lot of that is hard and kind of subjective. So that I'd use a lot of a self-assessment for that kind of a thing. Writing, journaling. They'll have a little paper in their choir journal that's just like, hey, what is this about? Conversations in class, and it's hard to get real objective with that, but it is an area that I think is hugely important. Voice. That's that other area. I used to just assess, when all of my assessments, my final was just like a music theory final, right? And I'm like, wait, what we're doing is voice most of the time. So that became like the primary thing that I assess is really the voice. And then last is the mind, sight reading, musicianship skills, right? And so we've kind of got mind, right, voice, and heart. A couple of years ago, we had a headliner that who was it? Maybe somebody can remember, that said, do you know why this is, our voice is here? Because it's halfway between here and here. Who was that? Do you guys remember? Jeffrey Bors. That's right. Yes, it was, yes, Jeffrey Bors, yes. Yes. I just thought that was brilliant. Here's our 3 areas, right? And this is kind of the connection point. I love that. You said Jeffrey Bors and his name popped up. Very good. So, Jeffrey Bors has an incredible rubric that many of you are probably familiar with now. It is expansive. It is for choirs as an ensemble, but it is one of the best rubrics that you will find, period, that goes into detail of what we should be going for as far as musicianship for our students. Lots of words. But if you're not familiar with it, I can't go into it right now. This is a whole session that how many of you have been to a Jeffrey Bors session on this? Okay, great. So I won't go into it, but what I love about it is you can't reach the end, basically. It is a rubric where you cannot get at the end. The end is like what we imagine as the perfect choir. It is the top professional choir that has ever been in the world. And even that group might be dipping in and out of the best, depending on the day, right? And so that's what I love about it. With my high school kids, sometimes we go to a festival and it's like, you got 100 out of 100. And you're like, well, really? Like, if we were like the best, like if Timberline won the state championship, we would still get destroyed by the Lakers every time, right? You know what I'm saying? So we're not the Lakers, you know what I mean? So there's always somewhere to grow. That's what I love about this rubric. So if you're not familiar with it, I'd love to send you a copy of it. It is brilliant. I have a giant poster of it in my class. And it's a really great start point to have real tangible words of like, what am I going for with vocal technique? Even when I cannot understand, feels like hope. So I've kind of taken, and I'll have all this linked to you guys. It's actually in here as well. There's little QR codes on this that can get you to all of this material. On at this, and I'll get my presentation on one, and this document on another one, and all the links will be there. Okay. So I made a little portfolio. This is another way that you can do kind of a long-term assessment, and I kind of took the Bors rubric and a little bit of the state standards. We've been doing some state standards work. Rudy and David and I and the Boise School District is kind of going to like standard-based things, and so we've been working through the state standards and trying to figure out how does that fit in our life. And one idea that we were kind of toying around with, this is kind of a work in progress, is coming up with a portfolio. So this is a Google sheet that every student would have, and then as they go through your program, they could just link a piece of evidence and check it off when, hey, I can do that. I can sing with resonance. Boom. So. At the bottom there, I've got tabs. So I've got 9th grade skills. So if you're a 9th grader, if you're teaching junior high, you could switch all of these up. And basically, I just took the Bors rubric and I just said, okay, the top is becoming an educated and skilled performer. I put level 2 from the Bors rubric. I also put some of the standards in there from the state standards. And so that's kind of the things we'd be working on. But the top one would be like, resonant sound is developing. We can define resonance, and demonstrate resonant and non-resonant sound. I can match some vowels. This is 9th grade. It's developing. It's not great. And then what that kiddo would do would be like, yeah, I got that. Maybe on a Friday real quick, I'd be like, hey, just go to open up your Google form, click off this. We just sang Ave Verum. You have your recording. Would you just link that into your portfolio and put it in there? And then you'd be able to take a look at this. And so I'd be like, okay, cool. Let's see if this plays. Here's a 9th grader. This is what they're going to put in there. I hope you can hear it. Oh, no, you can't. Oh, wait. Pause for a second. Pause for a second. I think I'm playing a YouTube track as well. Sorry. All right. You're going to want to hear this. So, all right, here we go. Sound familiar? All right, there you go. So there's my 9th grade portfolio. I'm putting it in there. We're like, all right, you're doing it, man. Resonance is coming. You got a few things in there, but that's the starting point, right? And we got it in there. All right, boom. It's done. I'm not going in there and going like, you get a 2 out of 10. I'm like, no, you did it. You got it in there. Good job. I have something to go off of. Nice. Okay, then we're going to go, okay, you join choir next year. Awesome. Same stuff. Maybe a few different things. You're going to go in there, and here we go. You've linked it in. Good job, kiddo. Here's your sophomore. Oh, a little better tone. Found their, not much resonance, but.
Atum de Maria Virgine verum passum immolatum.
There you go, 10th grader, right? So he's found his voice a little bit. He's got a little more buzz in the sound. He doesn't know the concept of vowels quite yet, but you can see the difference a year made. All right, we've got that. We found him familiar. All right. And dare I go on, 11th grade. All right. Wouldn't this be fun if you had this on all your kiddos? Would it be fun for them?
Ave, ave, verum corpus natum de Maria Virgine vere passum.
Better. He's getting better. All right. And then he thinks he's really awesome. He's in 12th grade. He's a senior. He's like, all right, Mr. Kane, I'm going to really rock it this year. Oh, is it going to work? Maybe not. There we go. He's thinking he's so cool.
Ave, ave,
Oh, he thinks he's so cool, the senior.
verum corpus
Remember the words.
natum de Maria Virgine.
All right. Good. So this could be something that, and you wouldn't have to fill the whole thing out, but this could be a nice little thing that could be going on as you have those kids for 4 years, and you can see their development. And that would be something tangible, right, that you could assess. Hey, you learned how to make a vowel. You learned how to use voice consonants. You learned how to have some phrasing and some resonance singing in your voice. And then we're actually talking about those things on an individual level with them. Don't get hung up on the tech stuff. I mean, that could be a lot of different ways. I got something from Ryan last time I did this. He said, one thing that I do is I just have my group stand in a big circle and sing Ave Verum, and I'm just walking around with a notepad, and I'm just walking and quick check. Pretty good. Okay. Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So just kind of like a quick check-in with them, giving a quick part thing. You don't have to have all the tech stuff. You can just walk around and do that. Just a quick check-in. And then, but you can keep a record of it and be like, oh, that 9th grader, now he's a 12th grader and he's rocking this. And I have that data on them. So it's kind of a long-term progression, especially for I think we're so lucky as educators, as music educators, or maybe our science or math colleagues have that kiddo 1 year, maybe 2 years, but we have them for 3 or 4 years, right? And so we have an opportunity and a responsibility for their entire development. All of our other colleagues are like, okay, I'm in charge of them freshman year, and then someone else's problem. So we really have to kind of think long-term, I think, with that assessment, and kind of think, where do I want them at 12th grade, or at the end of college, or at the end of junior high, or wherever you have them, and then work backward from there, I think. That's kind of the approach. So take it or leave it. You can steal all of the things that I have here, all right? Steal all of them. They're all available for you. Just go make a copy if you want it, and make your own copy of the portfolio thing, and then change it. It's not perfect. I've been kind of toying with, the language, and I use some of the rubric of Jeffrey Bohr's language in there. But you can mess with it into whatever skills you prioritize in your classroom, and put that in there. So, yes, question. Yeah, I mean that's the goal. I mean, I think I used to do America the Beautiful because that was just like we would all use it for auditions and things. This is a piece that I do use. I think it's pretty accessible for everybody, and it does have a little bit of enough range and phrasing and things in it, and it's so short, right? And I mean, if we wanted to, with my beginning ensemble, we could perform it at a concert, and I could perform it with my top ensemble, and I could perform it with an orchestra, I mean, it's all levels I could do it. So I think that's my goal. I've been successful with it, and then, just total honesty, some years I'm just like, oh wait, I forgot to do that thing. That was a really good idea. But I mean, generally, that's kind of what I try to do, is have recordings of them all the way through. Okay. Question, Grant? Right. Yeah, I think that is our other big challenge. Is we are really diverse. I mean, my fourth period class has beginning singers and people that have been taking voice lessons for many years, and it's challenging, And I have special ed kids in there. I've got all kinds in that class. I think with the combination, I try to have here's a baseline that I need for, like, let's say it's my audition course. I'd say, okay, here's the baseline for sight reading. We need to be on sight reading factory. You all need to be able to do a level 3. And as far as, part tests and things like that, you all need to be at this level. I put on, if you look at that little Google form that has the link on there, I put on there, this is one little trick I used, plus 10 bonus points if you could show that you've grown since the last assessment. Okay, you're still behind everybody. You got a 60% on your voice. Your neighbor got an 80, but you grew from a 40 to a 50. So I'm just going to give you that plus 10 bonus points. So now you're at a 60. And so that was something that I used just to show growth. So if I was just if I'm a great singer, but I'm at a 90 and I'm just at a 90 every single time, whatever, or you can make that 20 points or whatever. So that was my little hack, like growth points. So I don't know. It's challenging though, and especially with the music theory stuff. I have kiddos that are way advanced, have been taking piano lesson, and kids that don't know anything. They don't know the name of any of the notes. They don't know key signatures. They don't know anything. So we really have to individualize our classes so much, which is challenging. I'll talk about that a little bit, maybe with the sight reading. So I do sight reading factory, and I think we did this peer assessments. We'll talk about that. I don't want to run out of time. Yeah, formative and summative. So that walkthrough, that's Ryan's concept, just a 0 through 5 scale. A lot of formative stuff, right? Get them thinking, oh, this is where I'm at, and that's where they're really going to grow, is when they are assessing themselves. They know what the grading is. But then at the end, they still need to know, wait, Mr. Kane's going to listen to me sing, and I need to have that. One other little quick thing, Rich Lapp. You guys remember Rich Lapp? Rich Lapp, he's back in town, and I had him in the Timberline choir room. I said, come back home where you taught for 17 years, and he worked with all of my groups, and it was fabulous to have him back in the Timberline choir room. He built that place. It was just phenomenal. So yeah, he's around. He's a great resource, and I think he's bored, so give him a call. No, he's retired, and he would love to come into your classroom, and he's a wealth of knowledge. So anyway, he came in and he gave me a new concept for this, and that I'd never used, and I started using it last week. With all of that, I could say, hey, Max, would you just sing that opening Ave Verum for us? And you have to normalize this. You can't just out of the blue, you kind of have to normalize this. But how powerful was it? And so if I asked Max, would you be willing to do it? Just Ave, would you just sing that opening? Yeah, would you actually? Yeah. Awesome. Could everybody hear Max? Give us snaps for Max. Can all the basses sing with Max on that? Just kind of emulate that. Ready and wow, it changes the sound. All of a sudden, we're all listening to one person, right? And it also kind of puts everybody like, oh my God, I might get called on, right? And so it's something you have to normalize. You kind of have to set the expectations, and so that it's not like a gotcha thing, but it's, you're going to start with your strong singers who have it. You're not going to do it on the first day, but you're going to be like, would you just sing that section for us? Oh, great. Would you sing that section for us together? And then we're going to work with you a little bit, and then everyone's listening, right? And it's a quick way I could assess, like, obviously, yeah, Max has got it, but, maybe we could kind of get somebody like, oh, he's kind of right there. Okay, good. Yeah, that was great. Let's put you with Max this time, and you two go, and it keeps people on their toes. So that was a great little idea from Rich Lapp. So, all right, I want to throw that in there. Sight Reading Factory. So this is, a little bit techy, but I have found great use in it. I have used a lot of different sight reading resources. If you're not sight reading every day in your classrooms, start. When I was teaching in Washington at Gonzaga Prep, admittedly, in my first 5 years, I was just concert, and in my head, I was like, I don't know how I have time to sight read. And I remember coming to a conference and someone saying, you don't have time not to sight read. You don't have time not to sight read, because you're going to get all that time back tenfold in your students just being able to work through the music. So make sure you're doing it. This is a great resource here. It is. You can't see the whole thing, can you? That's interesting. But basically, it's like $35 for a teacher account, and then you can create and generate any sort of level or difficulty or key of an exercise that you would like. So this is my teacher account here, and so let's say I wanted to do, I can start sight reading, I can do a rhythm, I can do an ensemble, let's do choir, multi-part, let's do level 4. We're going to go sopranos, altos, tenor, treble, clef, sure, and we'll go baritones. Okay, and let's go 4/4, and then this is the interesting piece I like to do. Hey, I'm going to pass out a piece that's going to be in it's going to be in D flat major. And so I'm going to have a sight reading exercise that morning in D flat major, just to kind of get us thinking D flat major a little bit. You can't see it, I'm sorry. But if we were to do that, then what I will do in class is I'll just pull this up at the beginning. We'll play. There's a little thing there. And I'll say 30 seconds on your own. Take a look at it. 30 seconds on your own. Do. All right, folks. Okay. So remember your rubric 1 through 5. You're going to give yourself a little quick assessment on this afterward, just a self-assessment, formative thing. It's not going to go in the grade book, but I just want you to kind of see where you're at. Okay, let's just read the first 3 bars. Okay, do, do, ready, and 3 and 4. Great, beautiful, beautiful. Oh, you sound lovely. The computer made a nice one this time. Yeah, sometimes it does not as nice, but yeah, it was actually lovely. So give me a thumbs up. I was rocking that. That was too easy for me. I was learning and growing on that one. What are we doing? Okay, good. So you would give a quick assessment, or I could go to that more formal assessment where you're still self-assessing, or I could say, pull your phones out on this one, and would you record that and send it to me, a level 4, title it the date, so I know sophomore year. I mean, I have recordings from my seniors from their sophomore year and going, da-dee-la. Or sometimes they'll say, I'm so sorry, Mr. Kane. Like at the end of it, I'm like, oh, honey. It's so sweet. I love those ones. They crack me up. You can also buy student accounts for this. And I did that this year. And then in their own phone, they can have access to this, and they can choose their own exercises and practice at home. And then you can give them an assignment, and it's very fancy, and you can give them an assignment. At that level, you need to record a level 4, and it's all in there, and they're going to start, and they have to record it, and it's in there, and then I can play it and give them a grade right there. And so that's actually a really powerful resource. The student accounts are $2 per student. Talk to your district, they might help you out with it. Talk to your principal, they might help you out with that. It's really powerful. And then also for like auditions coming up, you can see a log every minute that they've logged into Sight Reading Factory. And so this is a powerful thing. Those kids that want to get into Encore, I'm saying, hey, auditions are coming up, or there's going to be a sight reading element on there. I do just take a look at your sight reading log to see if you've been practicing. That's a helpful thing for me. And all of a sudden you see like 9,000 exercises, from somehow, I'm like, okay, relax, it's fine. You're going to be great. But you can kind of tell this kid has not logged in one time and done no things, or this kid has, done 40 exercises and spent 4 hours on this in the last couple weeks, and it charts it and it does all kinds of fancy stuff. So it can be a sense of how much time they're putting in real data on that. I use this as a pre and post test thing too. It's really easy. I just give my sophomores just a level 4 right out of the gate. They all are terrible at it. They sing it, and then I just do it again like a couple months later. Obviously, they've all improved. Boom, check. I'm teaching them things. Okay, so sightreadingfactory.com. It's really nice. Take a look at it. There's ways to do promo codes and different things like that. So I use it a lot. It's nice. Musictheory.net. I've got time for that? Yes. All right. So this is all on the mind stuff, musicianship skills. These are easier to assess, right, than the heart stuff. The voice stuff is a little more objective, but we can do it. But these are a little bit easier. Musictheory.net, if you don't know this website, they have a lot of great little exercises, lessons you can point to. And what I use is the exercises. And then if you scroll down to the bottom, you can go, for teachers, exercise customizer. And then here, you can create your own little quiz, basically. And so I'm going to do just note names for my beginning students with one key signature. And yeah, that's great. And then what they're going to do is create an individual URL, and then you're going to give them that URL somehow through your Google Classroom or in a handout or something. I use my website for this. So what I've done is I created, and you can honestly, please do, steal all of this. Save yourself hours of time and steal. So my website, Timberline Choir written work tab. You can still, I made a little key signature quiz, a video. It's kind of fun. Key signatures. But here's the directions of what I want them to do. They're going to take a quiz. They're going to start the challenge. They're going to submit it to me. I use Google Classroom now. And so let's just do one. So let's do note names. This is a starting point. Note names. Oh, with helpers. So this is really easy. So this is like your student that's walking in like, start with level 1. How about that? So we're going to go here. Yay, I got a C. Yay, I got a B. Okay, and then I'm just going to turn the volume down so it don't hurt you. Let's just pick the wrong ones from here on out. I'm just going to go E. Oh, it won't let me do it. Oh, my gosh. So let's do one. Well, they will let me. I was mean that time. Let's do treble clef. I wonder if I did it this time. Yay. Okay. Oh, come on. Come on, give me a D. Oh, dang it. New high score. So it kind of gamifies it. I like that. There's a little thing. The kids like that. And some of my kids, they get into this, right? They are like, oh my gosh, Mr. Kane, and they're going with like the complex, like there's some hard stuff like chord recognition where it just goes blank, and then you're like, oh, okay, yeah. So that was a minor 7th with an added 9. Some of my kids are like, they're in it, and they can do this. So there's plenty of stuff at the far end of this for them to do. But there's also kids that are like, I don't know the name of the note. So they can customize their own level, basically is what I'm saying. They get to choose which exercise they do to turn into me, depending on where they're at, right? So that's that individualization piece. So what they're going to do here is they're going to, okay, that was my level. Okay, Mr. Kane, I got a 1 out of 20. This is where I'm at. Okay, fine. View report, they're going to sign it. Okay. Oh, my visa's in there. All right, good. That's not what I want. And then this kind of is a little like a little, progress report. Okay, note of identification. It's got my score. Oh, he only spent 7 seconds on it. Okay, Timmy, try again. And it's got what they did, and yeah, that kind of stuff. So you're going to copy this link here, and they're going to put that link in my Google Classroom assignment, okay? And then I will be able to click on that, and it'll show me this little progress report. So, yeah, does that make sense? So it's really powerful. You can use I have a little progression here. Here's level 1, note names. Level 2, key signatures, okay? There's 3 levels of that. Level 3, some keyboard stuff, right? Note training, ear training, okay, solfege, a little interval training. Then you're training with chords, chord construction, scale identification. You're training all scales, right? So, I mean, we can go all the way down there and go, okay, kiddo. Ooh, right, brainiacs. Yeah. What do you say? You got it. All right, good. So you hear that? So that's good stuff, right? Yeah. I liked all you guys pointed up on that point. So, and it's valuable, and they can choose where they're at, and then they can just do 100 of them. So, that's musictheory.net. That's how I use it. If you want to just copy all of my links, or if you want to make some adjustments to them, you can create your own. And then I just put those links on my website, or you can put them in your Google Classroom or wherever you'd like. Okay? So that's how I do that. So let's go back to this business. No, that's a free site. Musictheory.net's a free site. Yep. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, that's totally free. Yeah. Yep, and you can do that too, yeah. Yeah, especially for something that you've covered, and you said, okay, we're going to do this, and then now on Friday we're going to do this assessment. Yeah, just bring it up that way too. Yeah, find those quick ways that it's just faster for you. I think that's the thing that keeps us from doing real assessments, is that we just got to get to the performance, and then we got to call the bus company, and then we're like, the robe lady's coming, and you're like, oh my gosh, and then you don't do it, right? So if it's quick, right, then you might actually get it done. Yes. Yep. The robe lady. The robe lady's there. Okay. Any other questions or comments? Or this is an outstanding group you guys got. You guys have a wealth of knowledge in here. What has worked for you, or what things should we be thinking about? Yes. Yeah. So again, I've had great streaks where I'm right on this, and then I've had failures in semesters as well. But I would say my goal is to have some sort of assessment, like toward the beginning of the week, like maybe on Tuesday, right? That would maybe be one of those. I do little formative things every day, right? But those are just for them. I'm not putting that in the grade book. Yeah, but grade book things at least every Friday. Okay, and at least on the Friday, I'm just going to say, hey, we're going to put something in there, and it might be that self-assessment, and I'm just going to be, you did it, right, and put it in there, or it might be that quick thing, show me your grade, okay, yep, you got a 9, you got a 9, you got a 10, you got a 10, you got a 10. I try to do it on Fridays, and it's kind of fun, because usually on Fridays we do a bunch of other fun stuff, so it kind of like hides it in there. So it's a quick thing. I try to keep it brief, painless, and put it in there. The first couple times, if you're having them doing music theory, it's going to take a long time. It's going to take the whole class period, but then eventually it'll be there. I try to do it in class. Our kids are just overloaded. I do give them some homework, but I try to just have it happen in class. I find that I can do that, and then I'm not having to wrangle them outside of class. I don't know. So yeah, once a week. Sometimes it's not once a week. Sometimes it's every 3 weeks or something like that in reality. So. I do see my kids every day, though. Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I see my kids 5 days a week. So. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. It is. Yeah. Who's used my choral coach? You guys have used this? A couple other people? Okay, yeah. I think we tried. Did we try something like that in the Boise School District where basically does it show you a little like green line when you're rocking it and then like a red line when you're like, yeah. And so it measures your pitch. It actually has like a little a little tuner embedded in the program. And so if the note's supposed to be a D and you're singing just a little bit under pitch, it'll show that line just kind of hanging below where it's supposed to be. Yeah, I think that can be useful. I think we used a little bit of that. Again, you have to set it up so it doesn't stress the kids out. Because they're like, oh my gosh, but that's another useful thing, and it gives you a grade right there. Yes, I think that's where you have to get into the bugs of it, because if you have it set at like super tight, they'll all be getting 50% because they're not perfect, because we're not perfect. Yeah. Okay. Oh, wow. Say the name of it again. Earmaster 7. Yeah. And I don't know about you guys, but last year I was just inundated with all of these tech things. I got all these things from David Burton. He was the master of finding new things for us to use last year to just stay afloat when we were online most of the year last year. And some of them, though, I mean, a silver lining, I think I'm going to keep some things. Most of them I'm very happy to see go away. Virtual choirs never. But I did so many of those. But some of these little apps, I think we could maybe keep. So, consider that. They might be useful. Other things, thoughts, questions? We're about out of time. Okay. Well, good. I mean, I think zooming back out again to what Dr. Ely was saying, I think we owe it to our students to be focusing on them as a person and them as a musician. And that's what assessment can do. It can be a burden, or it can be something that just really livens up your class and empowers that student to feel like, I am a music scholar. I am a person who's learning something in your class. And they really feel pride in that, and it actually motivates them more. So thanks for your time. This was awesome to be with you guys. Thank you.